followers of the Laundry Room. We had such a good time with our friend Kirk Haston that we split this up into 2 parts. So thank you for your patience. Here is part 2 of Live from the Laundry Room with Representative Kirk Haston.
For those of you who don't know, Jacob Tucker is a Perry County graduate, and he can kind of give you a little background on himself, but he now works for the Heirs Foundation. Jacob, would you like to give yourself a very short and sweet introduction?
Sure. So, like Mary Lauren said, I graduated from Perry County in 2012. I went on to go to school at the University of North Alabama. Lived down in Florence for 8 years. I got my undergraduate degree in biology because I always thought I wanted to do physical therapy. And so that's what I got my degree in. Then turns out I wasn't done with the game of football. So I decided to start coaching. I coached for a couple of years, decided that I wanted to change. And for the longest, and Mary Lauren had told me, like, you're going to work for the Heirs Foundation one day. And so I was looking for a change of scenery. I contacted Susan and, what kind of spots you got open for me? And she said, well, as a matter of fact, we've got one. So I started with the Heirs Foundation about mid-December, and there's still a lot to learn, but these guys are helping along the way. We've got a really good team, a really good group of people that are all interested in the same thing, breaking barriers for these students who come from the small rural communities, just like I came from, and just like a lot of the other counselors came from. So really excited to be a part of the Heirs Foundation, and looking forward to see what the future holds.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and jumping on with us. To lose to Kirk, we appreciate you.
Hey, I do want to say I wanted to welcome him aboard. That's a great hire, and a little tidbit about him that he skipped over. He was Mr. Football. I think definitely the only Perry Countyan that's been Mr. Football and was all state in basketball. That's a pretty tough double dip to do. And I guess all state in football as well, I'm assuming. So all state football, all state basketball. I think that's going to be something that may not be done for a long, long time in Perry County. So that's one little fact he doesn't need to skip over.
I appreciate that, Kirk.
Well, that brings us to our next section of the show, and while we have JT on the horn too, I'd love to just cover this with everybody. This is a fun segment I like to call "What You Doing at Home." These are quirky quarantine habits. Mary Lauren and I started this because we're both extroverts stuck at home, and we are building Lego sets. Mary Lauren is doing diamond art, which is how we even started this segment. I'm doing schoolwork. I've scrapbooked. For crying out loud, scrapbooked. And you can tell how long this quarantine's been going on because I need a haircut like no other. So I will start this segment off just to get the segment rolling of what you're doing at home. What I did yesterday was put together a new grill. So I have a new pellet grill that needs to be seasoned today. And I'm planning on smoking some ribs right out the gate. I mean, why else would you get a pellet grill? So I'm showing my instructions. This is how to initially light your pellet grill, which I did last night at 11 or midnight or somewhere around there. I'm going to season it today with apple pellets and try to cook some good food because that's apparently all you can eat right now in quarantine. Mary Lauren, do you have anything to tell us or show us today for the segment, What You Doing at Home?
I am doing the Whole30, so I have to cook all of my food all the time. So shout out to one of our coworkers in Unicoi County. She made masks to give away to people. And so I had asked her to give me one. So that was me going to the grocery store this week. And it has just solidified the fact that I didn't need to go into healthcare because that is just not a good look for me.
I think the glasses make it look like you're about to rob me. The glasses, the mask, the baseball hat. Most times I see people in a mask, I don't feel like I'm getting robbed. But I don't know. I get a bad feeling.
That's what I'm saying.
I bet nobody bothered you at all. Man. So, Kirk, what you doing at home? What's been going on? You talked about reading. You talked about playing games outside. Anything else that you've been able to get going at home?
Well, yeah, we try to stay on a pretty good schedule during Monday through Friday with the kids. So we have school time and we have kind of our lunch schedule and everything. But then we have we do some basketball drills and we do some. I've got the golf net set up, and so we hit golf balls. My wife and I have gotten into. I got one of these Nintendo Entertainment Systems that has all the games on it last year, from Sega, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and we've actually been doing a huge deep dive in Tetris 2 battles. And so I keep up with it on my phone. And these games go by quick. This is going to be a high number, but these games aren't taking. These games go by fast. But right now, the record is she's at 397, and I'm at 385. So I'm down on this. So that we played probably about an hour a day of Tetris, old school 1989 Tetris. But so that has been part of my new normal right now. Work wise, I've just been trying to make phone calls, answer a lot of emails. We have a lot of constituent questions coming in about things that they're trying to do and maybe having issues with. And so the big part of my days are revolved around sports practice, Tetris, and answering emails and phone calls from constituents.
That is awesome. We are also doing some deep diving into. We got a PS4 that we've been playing a little bit, but we also have been playing some old school Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Yep.
Just to show the young kids how frustrating games used to be. You know, you had to start. Every time my 7-year-old dies, you have to start at the very beginning every time. Oh yeah, very.
And I have the older gamer system that has all of those as well. It's probably the same person that did yours, but
no name calling me. This is
no, I'm not. But I have been tearing up some Lost Vikings and Donkey Kong and Lost Vikings 2, which has been a new game for me, and it's so hard.
Hey, quick movie recommendation on old video games and Donkey Kong. There is an excellent documentary that was done about 10 or 12 years ago called King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters. One of the best movie titles ever. But it's about all of these old school gamers that are still pursuing records in old video games like Pac-Man and Donkey Kong. And Donkey Kong is the most legendary of them. But I highly recommend, if you can track down that documentary, watching it.
Absolutely. That's what inspired me I have a couple of the arcade 1-up cabinets, the small versions of. That's absolutely what inspired me to get those, because I watched that and I'm like, it's not the same. You got to have a cabinet. Like,
I've got Galaga in my basement.
Very nice. I've got Turtles in Time. That's my pride and joy is playing Turtles in Time with the kids. It's got where we can all play on it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is what's keeping us busy too. Jacob Tucker, I didn't give you a warning at all that we were going to ask you what you were doing during quarantine. And you even had to celebrate a birthday in quarantine. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing at home, keeping you busy. Any quirky quarantine habits that you picked up?
So I've started watching this new show. I don't know if anybody's ever watched it before. It's called The Office. It's pretty good. So I've since quarantine started, I've watched it completely through 12 times. So so I've got that going for me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I've never been, but I'm kind of starting to pick up now is I'm trying to be a gamer now. So I've always been horrible at gaming, and so that's something that I'm trying to do now, just to pass some time.
Game that you're playing, Jacob Tucker?
So I go, since I'm so bad at video games, I go for the free games that are on. So right now I'm playing Warzone, which is like, it's the free version of the new Call of Duty, and so I'm really bad at that. I've also been trying to do some at-home workouts and stuff with some like cases of water, and I've got a pull-up bar and stuff like that. So, but I'll probably spend the majority of my time. So, what we used to do before this quarantine business and the stay at home is we had a group that would play pickup basketball every Sunday evening, and so what I've really taken this time to do is, I've gathered all of Kirk's old game tape, and I've just been studying his game so that whenever this gets over and we get back to playing pickup basketball, then I'm going to shut him down. And so that's pretty much taken up the majority of my time.
Do you need me to send you my videos from Wayne County so we can really get a good coaching situation going?
Yeah, I'll probably just do a side-by-side of you and Kirk and just try to, find out the best way to kind of attack his game. So,
wow.
I do miss the Sunday night pickups. That is true. I had not played in a long time, and I just gotten back into playing some right when all of this hit. And one thing I did want to mention that was talked about earlier with the haircuts. All you guys love making fun of the bald people up until this point. Up until this point, when we're the only ones at the house that know how to cut our hair. So, welcome to the real world, everybody.
mm-hmm.
I'm struggling. I told Jesse, like, I was like, it's red, it's red, it's red. Oh, and it's blonde halfway down my face.
That does lead me to a question. When you popped on the video, did we meet at an earlier time and you had hair? Are you a recent bald person?
I decided to shave it about 2011, and I still had a pretty decent head of hair. And I finally, but I knew what the back of my dad's head looked like, and I knew where I was heading to, and so I made a preemptive strike in 2011 and shaved it because I'd rather people ask me, why did you shave your head, than saying, do you know you're going bald? So I wanted to go out on my own terms.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Wow. Well, that leads us to our last little part. I do want to ask you kind of what we're looking at in the future. But before we jump to that, I just want to ask, we ask everybody if they have a piece of advice that they would like to give during this time of COVID, during this time of social distancing. And this can really be aimed at anyone. This can be aimed at high school seniors or college people that we normally talk about. But a lot of people kind of go more like aimed at like humanity as a whole or your constituents. Like, do you just have any kind of piece of advice that you would like to pass along now during this time of COVID?
Yeah, I think I'll say two different things here. One is just take advantage of what you have in front of you right now. You have a lot of opportunities to, whether it's family time, whether it's bettering yourself, through education. I was hearing today somebody talk about how they were going through trying to learn a new language or learning sign language. I mean, there's a lot of things that we always seem to put off, and we always say if we have time. I'll tell everybody right now, if everybody's been talking about something they're going to do, and they're going to do, if you don't do it during this period, then don't ever bring it up to your friends again, because this is your opportunity to do it. All right. So if you're going to read the book, or if you're going to write the book, or if you're going to do whatever, this is the time. As far as the other thing I'd like to say is there are a lot of questions out there. There's a lot of people that are confused about what's coming up, and if people do have any questions, there's the one blessing about the job that I have is I have a lot of resources at my disposal. It's when I'm out of this job one day, I'm going to miss when people don't pick up the phone call or answer email quickly. And that's one thing with this job that I'm blessed to have, is that I can usually find, if I don't know the answer, I can find the answer and get somebody connected pretty quickly to people. So feel free to reach out to my office or email me. My email's on the state legislature website. But if you have any questions or you're having issues with something, let us know, and we'll try to connect you with the people that can help.
Great words of wisdom to pass along there. Take advantage of this time that we've got. I do want to ask just a little bit, and now I know, I think I told you before this started, before we hit record, that we try not to do just super hard-hitting questions, because we want to be able to get some answers while also not pressing for things that we know could change tomorrow. We know that things are so fluid right now, and we're just trying to get a better understanding of what we're up against. But can you talk any at all about what you guys have been talking about for the next school year, like what we have to look forward to? You had mentioned some ideas that you guys had talked about, like maybe lunches in the classroom, just kind of some out-of-the-box ideas to kind of move forward. And that is what I think we're all trying to do, is just try to get some creative, out-of-the-box thinking for how to come up with solutions for our current, jobs, our education. Have you guys begun the conversation of next year? And you may not be able to talk much about it, but can you mention anything about what we're looking at?
Yeah, we have, when we get back into session, we'll be able to kind of all get in a room and go over some of the ideas that are being presented. None of this is anything, what I'm getting ready to say, some of the ideas, these are just things that have been talked about, nothing concrete, of course, like you mentioned. I think some of the things that are going to be looked at and talked about are classroom size, because if you look at one of the things that I think you're going to see possibly at some stage with restaurants is that it's not going to be light switch, all 30 tables go back into the restaurant. It's going to be light switch 10 tables in a restaurant, or quarter of your capacity, or 50% of your capacity. And so we're going to have to be real smart and creative, and really be looking at what we do personnel wise with teachers to be able to make sure that we're creating not only a learning environment that's conducive to learning, but also conducive to safety. And so I think we're going to look at some things. I mentioned this earlier, but like lunchroom schedules, how the lunchroom schedules work, and being able to keep kids separated. I think one of the things that Dr. Chris Jones from Centennial mentioned the other night in our teletown hall was that, be ready for masks to be required potentially at schools. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I can see that being something that's required potentially, but then you get in the point of like, well, during lunch, it's going to be really hard to do that. And so then you get into what that leads to the next question, to the next question, to the next question. And that's why I think when we go back into session, there's going to be, and if you think about it, there's a lot of issues like that in just education that's going to potentially require, either state board rule changes or even legislation. And if that's the case in education, think about, each other committee, the different, the health committee, the state government. There's going to be, there's 10, 12, 20 things that kind of lead to the next question. And so we still have quite a bit, I think we have quite a bit of work still ahead of us when we get back into session. And hopefully we can try to have a really good, make a preemptive strike and really have some forethought in this before we get into this next school year.
Absolutely. And when you guys get back into session, we just asked, it would be really fun if you would just put us in your pocket and let us do a Google Hangout of all of us there and just be a fly on the wall for that. And we could just yell out funny office jokes. Jacob Tucker's got plenty in his arsenal. He's watched this 12 times. I know. Please don't do the math on if that adds up, because it may not add up. But yeah, when you guys get back to session, just remember us. We would love to film we could do a Tiger King style docu-series on the makeup.
I can't believe it's been this long and before somebody mentioned Tiger King. But yeah, that's great.
I was sure that Jacob Tucker was going to mention that he's been watching this series that no one's heard of. And I was like, I know he's going to say Tiger King. And he said The Office, which of course made it like bright and very much a better scenario, because I'd rather watch The Office 12 times, obviously.
Right. Yes.
Which is solid. Which, by the way, I just want to clear the air. I don't want people on the internet commenting about this, Jacob Tucker. You've seen The Office prior to COVID, right? Like COVID didn't inspire your Office watching.
Yes. I might have fudged that statistic a little bit. I have watched it through 12 times, just not since. Not
during COVID.
I finished my 12th time during quarantine.
Gotcha. I didn't want people to, it took a pandemic for this guy to watch the best show on earth. I didn't want people to think that about you.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can attest. I do have a Dundee sitting on my desk at headquarters. So,
and this was my mug today. So, yeah. Well, Kirk, we won't take up much more of your time, Mr. Pinstripe Show. We want you to be able to get back to work and get back to reading. So we will let you get back to rolling. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, for just updating us on what's going on. We did pull a couple strings to get on your agenda pretty early, so we appreciate you making time for us. And beautiful scenery. I know we talked before this that you just had to get outside for a little bit, and I totally understand that. We finally have a pretty day outside that we can do that. So thank you again for hanging out with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. So this is Jesse and Mary Lauren, and now Jacob Tucker signing off. You guys have a great day.